Hey guys, trying not to fall behind on our Leetcode. So today we're just going to do a couple of easies, and then maybe tonight I'll do some mediums and hards. But today we're going to be looking at is Palindrome, and so looking at this, we have a couple of examples, and so this one is a long one. But so a palindrome is something that says the same thing forwards and backwards. Okay, so if we look, we got the center, the middle character of our word or of our palindrome, and if we go from the middle to the front and from middle to the end, it should be the same set of characters. All right, so that's basically a palindrome. And if we look at race car, it is not a palindrome because we have an RR, AA, CC, and then these two middle characters. If they were both E's or both A's, then we would, but they are not. Okay. And so an empty string after removing alphanumeric characters, since an empty string reads the same forward and backwards, this would be considered a palindrome. Okay. So this is a fairly easy problem, but it looks like it's not a well-received problem. You know, we got 5,200 downvotes. I don't even know why that would be. This is a problem I used to teach my high schoolers, and it's a problem that we do using recursion and just an iterative approach. Either way. But today we're just going to solve it using iteration. And so this first solution is going to... Okay, so this first solution, we're just going to just replace all of our characters that are non-alphanumeric with with nothing. Okay, so here what we're going to do is we're just going to use some regular expression, and then we're going to change that string to complete uppercase. Okay, so we're going to say S is equal to S dot replace all. So the expression is now my regular expressions, I always have to look things up, but this is pretty standard. But if you want to get into some tricky stuff, then I always have to look that stuff up. Okay, so it's going to replace anything that's not an A to Z or a capital, and this should be 0. Okay. So, and it's going to replace it with what character? Well, we want to replace it with a no character. Okay. And then we're just going to say 2 so that they're all the same case. Okay. And so this gets us our, I don't know why it's W. So we'll just say S. Okay, so we replaced all the non-alphanumeric characters, and all we're going to do now is a simple loop. So we're going to say for int I is equal to 0, while I is less than s dot length divided by 2, I plus plus. And so in one way, we're going from the beginning to the middle, and in the other way, we're going from the end to the middle. Okay, so that's kind of what's going on here. So we're just going to say if. And so we're going to just change these to ints because I just thought it was easier. So char at I didn't want to do like substring and stuff like that. So here is not equal to the int that is found at s.char at s.length -1 minus I. Okay, and so yeah, so if this is not true, we're just going to return false, and then otherwise we are going to return true. Okay, so this just checks every character from the beginning and from the end going towards the middle, and just to see if they are exactly the same. Now if we run this code, bet you heard some chickens. So if we run this code and we submit it, we're getting, what's our runtime? Okay, that's pretty high. I mean, if we ran it again, I bet we would get something a whole lot lower. Let's try it. So such variance here. Now, this replace all, maybe we don't need to do that. Maybe if, because this goes through the entire array, or, char array or whatever. And so what we would want to do, or what we could do instead of this, is we could maybe do it using 2 pointers, okay? All right, so let's do this instead, okay? So instead of this, using the replace all, what we're going to do is first we're going to check to see if the length is 0 or if the string is null. So if s is equal to null or s.length is equal to 0. If that's true, we're going to return true because that was one of the conditions. If it's and then we're going to lowercase them. So we're going to say s is equal to s dot to lowercase or uppercase. You choose, it doesn't matter. And then here we're just going to loop through it. But this is going to be, we're going to add some extra variables onto our loop. So here we're going to have int I is equal to 0. And we're going to have j is equal to s.length, similar to what we did before. Okay, s.length -1, while I is less than j. And then we're going to do I plus plus and j minus minus. Okay, so what we want to do is, since we have not gotten rid of all the special characters in our array, we need some while loops. So we're going to say while I is less than j and character dot is letter or digit s dot char at I. Okay, what we're going to do here is, so if it's not a letter or a digit, what we want to do is I plus plus. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing. We have another while loop, and then this is going to say char at j and j minus minus. Okay, and so here we're just going to check if they are not equal to each other at this point. Okay, so this has gotten it to where it is not a special character. This has gotten it to where char at j is not a special character, and now we're going to compare them. So here we're going to say s.char at I is not equal to s.char at j. And if this is the case, we're going to return false here. And then after this for loop, we didn't return false ever, so we're just going to return true now. All right. And so let's go ahead and run this code. And submit. Okay, so the speed improved a lot. Okay, and if we ran this a few times, you know, we had 8 milliseconds a second ago. Now we're at 5. So these numbers are, you know, inconsistent at best. But you know, either of these solutions are good. I think this is probably better, just because we don't have to go through it and replace all the characters at the start of the array, or the start of the method. We could just do it right here, just skip them as we go through the array. Okay, so that probably makes this a little bit faster. Now, what is you know, the runtime here? You know, the runtime is going to be O of n. Okay, so that's all we really need to be worried about there. And yeah, that's it. I mean, this is such a simple problem. I bet it gets asked a lot. You know, this if you have a company and you just want to have a very low bar for hiring in that company, you know, you might want to ask something like this, or just, you know, to sum or something like that. But you know, to each their own. So this is one problem that I'm going to do today, and I think I'm going to do valid anagram next. And I will see you in the next video. Like and subscribe if you have not. Otherwise, see you then.